The Kia Sorento is one of our longest standing product lineups, and it's well known as an SUV. It's well known for its refinement in the city and everyday life. With this adventure, we wanted to show that even with what people perceive to be a normal pavement SUV, you can go much further than you think you can and do it in comfort and luxury.
The route covered almost 1,000 kilometers, running from Bloemfontein to Hilton, close to Pietermaritzburg. We went around the south of Lesotho, right next to the river that separates Lesotho and South Africa. And then we went up Ladine's Neck, which is quite difficult. It had been washed away a little bit, so traction control and four-wheel drive came into play there. We also did Nordea's Neck, which is the highest mountain pass in South Africa, and not an issue, not a flat tire, no problem, no vehicles getting stuck, no damage, so all good.
Kia Sorento is the flagship Kia SUV in South Africa. Comes with a full 7-seat configuration that gives you a lot of versatility and practicality, powered by a 2.2-litre turbo diesel engine with 147 kilowatts of power and 440 newton meters of torque, as well as an all-wheel drive system in some of the models that gives you extra grip as and when you need it.
I think it's come quite a long way from its predecessors. The vehicle is a lot chunkier and more macho looking, if I can use an old expression, but certainly a very bold front end. Looking at the back of the car as well, it's got a very nice stance on the road. It really does look the part.
It's quite bold. It really sets itself apart from the rest of its peers in the segment, so yeah, quite like it.
A Kia Sorento can compete with anything now in terms of styling. When you see it, you know what you're driving. It kind of makes a statement. So I know it's a small thing, but the front end with those lights in it, yeah, that's for me. It's the place.
It's a very attractive car. I think because I've had a lot of time looking at the back of the car, because we've been following you, I think it has a very nice distinctive back and a nice taillight signature.
It's got a much more American look to what it had in prior editions, and that actually made a conscious decision in that respect, because of the American market being bigger.
Actually looks pretty grand on the road. It looks like American SUVs, a lot bigger and a lot more substantial.
Premium, I know people use that word only for like the German big three or whatever, but come on man, look inside of that thing. Everything you want is high quality materials, everything you need's in front of you.
It's like driving a sofa in the best possible way. And I say, no, it sounds like it's an insult, but it's not. It's incredibly comfortable, it's very premium feeling, there's a lot of nice soft touch materials, and there's lots of nice little spots to put things, and incredibly comfortable, considering that we have been driving over every kind of terrain.
Very nice and stylish, a nice touchscreen in the center of the dash that displays everything you need to very nice and clearly. The main instrumentation as well was also very nice and clear. Seats very comfortable, and I thought the interior looked nice and upmarket, fully leather, etc. It was nice and refined, spacious, airy. So a very nice place to spend 8 to 10 hours yesterday.
Cabin, very well done, really premium quality. Zero complaints, the leather feels great, the touch points are soft, and they feel like they will last a very long time. The glossy plastics though on the center console, not a big fan of those because fingerprints, but also does look a little on the cheaper side, but the rest of the cabin is just ace.
Everything's self-explanatory. We've got the all-wheel drive model, and that mud, snow, and that, there's nothing, you don't have to delve into the computer menu too much. It's all right there at hand, which I like. I really dig that.
The screen is nice and high up, it's easy to reach. Your ventilation controls are separate, so it's easy to control that. Functionality-wise, it works very well.
The cabin for me is by far the highlight. It's very practical, very comfortable. There's a lot of USBs, so when you're traveling with the family, everyone was day charged, as well as the 7-seater option, primarily reserved for children. It's nice to have as well.
In general, this is just a very underrated vehicle. I mean, a lot of people go for your bucky-based body on frame SUVs just by default, whether it's for taking the kids to school and back. A lot of them don't actually need that. And you look at a vehicle like the Kia Sorento, and it really offers a kind of refinement that you just don't get in a standard bucky-based body and frame SUV. And you kind of assume, okay, maybe it's a little bit of a soft rider, but what we've seen in the last day is that it actually is quite capable. I mean, it's not going to go exactly where your vehicles with low range are going to go, but you'll be surprised at where it would. I mean, we were going over some seriously rocky stretches and wheels were spinning. It's actually quite eye-opening. You get out to places you didn't think you would in a vehicle like that, and a lot more comfort as well. I've always thought it was a very underrated vehicle, and I'm actually glad I got to experience this because it's just sort of reinforced what I thought about it.
I honestly thought a little bit of dirt road kind of stuff, the odd little climb, but come on, this was bucky territory and it handled it properly. the intelligent smart system on board, I mean, it knew when to sort of crawl uphill instead of spinning out or changing gears. I mean, I think I reversed once and had to go over an obstacle in the whole trip, and that was pretty impressive.
I kind of had a feeling that you were going to take us on a softer off-road than what we did, so that it looks good without actually being punished. But I think we punished it, and it held up remarkably well.
Well, the first thing I'm really glad about is it's fitted with nice high-profile tyres, because we experienced a lot of ridges, a lot of potholes, a lot of ruts, a lot of grooves, and I think that's a great feeling, you know, and it just gives you that confidence on a rougher road that you're not going to jaw right through and bottom out the spring or bottom out the tyres, in fact. So, yeah, that was nice. And steering at first feels quite vague, but actually on a rutted, bumpy road it's nice, you know, it hasn't got a lot of kickback, so that's nice. And I particularly enjoyed the automatic transmission on downhill slopes would actually gear down automatically for you, give you that control on very steep downhills. So I was impressed with that.
Having a car that really don't have to think about operating it. I mean, like, you're sitting comfortably, your bike isn't hurting, you're able to enjoy all the scenery, and yeah, it was a really, really good drive.
A lot of people in South Africa believe if you're going to go remotely off-road, you need to go to a bakkie-based vehicle. And I think what we saw yesterday proved that is not the case. This is a monocoque construction vehicle, independent suspension all around, extremely comfortable, as you would expect to drive on the car. But the biggest eye-opener for me was once we got into some really tough dirt. Yes, the ground clearance was possibly a little compromised, but we're talking about roads here that people wouldn't dare to take any kind of car. Big surprise for all of us, and the on-tar was basically what I expected of a vehicle of this type. So all in all, I think much more of a versatile all-rounder than most people would expect of a vehicle of this type.
Went through some hectic passes, weren't really sure that we're going to make it, but really came through without much of a sweat. On road tires, no less, not even all-terrain tires. Definitely capable. We are here, no punches, we never got stuck. You didn't have to whip out the recovery equipment, so very surprised.
I liked the engine. It was nicely responsive. Overtaking was good. We were hardly aware the engine was there. After I'd been driving for a while, I thought, you know, are we sitting behind a diesel or a refined petrol engine or whatever? It was unobtrusive. It did its job so nicely. The fuel consumption was excellent. We averaged between 7 and 7.5. On the open road, even less than that. But I mean, this included what we could call off-roading.
It does have a very low first gear, which acts as a bit of a crawler. I didn't even know that about it. Some of those stretches were very rocky and very rutted, and it was a bit touch and go at times, but the vehicles cruised through in general.
It's got a lot of torque and mated to that very nice gearbox. It's a nice range, a fair amount of thrust as well. So yeah, I actually like the engine very much.